And welcome back to another week of the Stone and Crane Show. I'm here once again, Kyle Crane on the other side. Um,
Oh,
there he is. We are here this week back into sports, but not just any type of sports, motorsports. More specifically, the F1 Championship. Worldwide sport. It's amazing how fast these guys go. When they say they are the fastest um, motor motorized sport in the world, they don't necessarily mean top speed. They mean just how fast they can get around a circuit. Because the speed in which these guys take turns is, downright crazy.
yeah, it's
that
nuts.
it
Absolutely
is
nuts.
these F1 cars. The amount of downforce and speed they can put down on the downforce on the car, and just allows them to go around these corners edges. Anyways, blah blah blah. Let's get into it. We here today are going to be talking about our predictions on the 2021 F1 season. We're gonna see how terribly wrong this can go.
Yeah, yeah.
At the
Because
end of the
well,
year, I'm sure we'll do some sort of
oh yeah.
review, man. We
I
gotta we
mean,
gotta do a review of how off we were.
yeah. Because like what we talked about a little bit off, the stream here. I've only been watching it, pretty hardcore for a couple of years, and it's been pretty dominated by one team in general for the last 7 years, right? So
Yeah,
it's
7 straight.
and everything else in the field is pretty open. But this year could be pretty interesting. So we're hoping it's pretty fun to watch for the first time in a while for other fans who have been around a lot longer than me. So it's I'm pretty excited about it this year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's jump into some of the hot news stories of the F1 2021 season going into it. The biggest change is having a cost cap. This is not normal for any motorsport, I believe. This is for us Americans. This is very similar to, all of our, or at least football and basketball. Have hard caps, or sorry, football has hard cap, basketball has soft cap, but same thing, same similar thing, where teams got to stay, their spending budgets got to stay under a certain amount. For the 2021 season, F1 has it set at $147.4 million. Now, I'll get into detail on exactly, because this isn't every single employee they got on their team. This only includes the car, obviously, the marketing costs, the race driver salaries for both race car drivers, and then the cost of the three highest paid personnel on the team. So this is probably your race director, head of engineering, or there's a couple. I always forget. Anyways, just a side note, I thought it was pretty interesting. They also excluded, I should say, maternity, sick leave, and medical costs. That way, these companies aren't trying to, cut their employees short on these, trying to make this cap work. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's great to try to help some of these smaller, other teams to try to close the gap a little bit, especially for teams like Mercedes and Ferrari who have endless amounts of funds.
yeah,
They don't know the meaning of cost of goods.
I'm sure they
It's,
do. Just they're just
I don't
able to
think they really
get away
do,
with
man. They literally can spend whatever money they want. They don't. They have for years. They just spend whatever money. It's when it comes to
whatever's
racing. It's
necessary. Yeah.
yeah, whatever's necessary. Let's just get the win. Where these other
Mm-hmm.
teams, they literally have to borrow parts from other teams, and and it's like they have to scrounge to get the cash to pay for it. So I think it's good, man. It's good for the sport. I think it's better for to see better racing long term. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. For people that are unfamiliar with F1, so the weekend consists of was it Thursday, Friday, Sunday? That's how their weekends work? Right? Practice, qualifying, race day? I already forgot. Or is it just Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Tough. So you should have you got practice 1, practice 2, practice 3. That's so you have no, it should be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then qualifying on Saturday, and then race on Sunday.
Okay, that's how it goes.
Or however it works for them, right? So it'd be different for us because we're such a lag time because most of the races take place in Europe. So it's usually our races will take place for us like super early in the morning.
Yep.
But yeah, so Tuesday, Wednesday, practice 1, 2, 3, and then for an hour apiece right now, and then qualifying on usually Saturday, and then they'll have the race that following day.
Yep. So as we said, those practices were initially in 2019 anyways, were 90 minutes long each. In 2020, they cut their last practice down to just an hour. And heading into the 2021 season, they've cut down the practices to an hour each. So, and that might not seem like much, but that is a ton of, on-track development that is lost now that these teams can't get. So the pressure during the race to make the right adjustments is even more there than ever. So
yeah. And some days, and some tracks are different than others. Like you'll have 2 practices might happen in one day. They'll just happen at different times in the day. Like one might happen in the morning, and then the second practice will be at night, and then the next practice will be the next day, and then qualifying will be that night. So they don't have a lot of time to fix their problems and things like that. And then so with that extra time being cut off, that really hurts. It could potentially hurt some other teams that need that extra 30 minutes while they're practicing.
Yeah.
Do things.
For sure. It's also gonna, cloud the circuit a little bit more too. Obviously, people are pushing in. They're trying to push, as much time on the track as they can to get all the data they need. So we could see some more accidents, more interesting. What did I say? I don't know, not emotions, but some
tension, right? So tensions are going to be really high. I mean, especially this week coming up. The 26th is the first practice, so it's going to be pretty exciting to see what happens, especially after the last practice that we've just seen. With Mercedes struggling a little bit, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens those first 3 practices. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, without further ado, I think we should get into our predictions. So I'm going to throw up on the screen for the people watching this. For the people listening, we'll be talking about it enough. I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So there's 20 drivers, 10 teams, on a F1 every circuit. That's what they have right now. They're, in years past, and this year isn't really going to change. It was always set by money, really. So with this cost cap, it's really going to start, pushing these teams closer and closer together. So it's going to be harder and harder to tell who's going to finish out where, especially these recent years, before this, it was pretty easy to pick out where teams were going to fall, at least be not too far off, So let's get into it. We'll talk about our takes on each driver as we go along our list, but first of all, we got to pick who's going to finish dead last this year and probably not score any points. Probably going to have a couple drivers not score any points, I would say.
We're gonna go dead last first.
Yeah, we're going last to first.
Oh man.
At least I want to go last to first.
Yeah, we can do last first. That's a hard one, man, because I feel like the bottom of the pack is going to be a hard thing to judge, right? Because,
Yeah. So we got. I think you agree. We got two teams that are really just at the bottom, right? That you don't see going up. We got, at least in my mind, we got Haas and Williams. So we're gonna be taking in consideration of those two teams. I think between those two teams, one of those drivers are gonna be the last.
I think it's going to be both the Haas guys.
You think both Haas?
They didn't do anything to their car in the off season. They literally just didn't do anything. They didn't use any of the tokens. They didn't improve the car at all from last year, while every other team made some improvement to the car. So they're literally running the same exact car from 2020. I just don't see them competing in the field. So that's my opinion on it. So, well, yes, Williams is going to struggle, but I feel like with the racers and the experience they have, I think two rookie drivers coming off of that with, as good as Mick Schumacher is, fantastic bloodline. And then Nikita Mazepin, I still don't feel like they're still running an inferior automobile compared to everybody else.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, if 2020 was anything to behold, there's gonna be some crazy races, and I think I'm gonna go out on a limb, and with how aggressive Mazepin is as a driver, I think he's gonna crash out in a lot of races. But I also think he has the potential to maybe itch out a 10th place at one of these tracks. We didn't really go over. There's 23 circuits this year, by the way, that they're racing at, which is a high. Is up from a few years ago they were sitting steady at 21 for a couple years. Last year, obviously with COVID reasons, they were down to 17, but they got 23 scheduled this year, and they believe as long as COVID doesn't rear its ugly head, believe they'll be able to race all 23 tracks around the world. So
yeah,
my only thing is I think Latifi could potentially not score any points as well, and could be in the mix. I was gonna put Mazepin ahead of Latifi.
Yeah, we could do that.
You think you agree with me enough that you think that could happen? Okay. Next we got 17th and 18th. Mazepin, I got 18th, or I'm happy with him at 18th anyways. So going forward, now we got this man George Russell, who is by any means an amazing driver. I would say he's a top 10 driver. In an inferior automobile. I think we saw him last year. He raced for Mercedes at one race and raced the tires off, quite literally. So who do you think? You think not Williams? You think Russell is 17th here, or do you think he passes the likes of some of these guys in the AlphaTauri and the Alpine race cars? Or not AlphaTauri, sorry, Alfa Romeo.
That's the biggest thing is if he can drive well enough, and if those Williams Mercedes cars can hold up for him to get past Giovinazzi and the Raikkonen. I'm not sure. This is the part of what makes F1 interesting to me is this back of the field.
Oh yeah,
more in the front of the field, because it's fun to watch these guys battle for the measly points that they're going to get,
if any.
They are really pushing hard every race, and a lot of times they don't finish and whatnot. So I mean, I don't know if you put in.
You think Giovinazzi at 17th? I know you said his name.
So.
You think him?
So. Yeah.
So we got him at 17th driving for Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
Going into 16th. Now, do you think Williams gets placed there? You think he scores 3, 4, 5 points this year?
Yeah, I think you put Russell there.
Okay. And right behind Kimi? Do you think Raikkonen?
Yeah, Raikkonen for sure. I think Raikkonen is Raikkonen another one. He's good,
He's
man.
yeah. You could put him other than maybe Russell, which I mean, I guess we got him beating Russell out here. He's better. He's a world champ,
Yep.
So by all means, he's a great driver. I think he's better than. You could make an argument with Russell, but he's definitely better at this moment, at this year, better than these 4 drivers.
Yeah.
So I definitely put him above all those guys.
Yep.
Okay. 6 down, 14 to go. Who do we got in 14th? You got your. Did you make a list up, like a pre-list that you already got set that you're kind of basing this off of, or?
I went top down, and I struggled with that back half so bad I didn't make a back list.
I'll tell you, I have Mr. Two-Timer Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, I would
at 14.
Because racing we talked about this, man. Racing for Alpine is going to be rough.
They got,
Racing Point, right?
Renault was great a couple years ago. They are on a downhill, I believe.
Was this Renault or Racing?
Renault. They were
Point. That was that's Aston Martin, right?
Yeah, that's Aston Martin. This was Renault. They got a new race director. They got a lot of new parts coming in. New driver. I just don't think they're going to be competitive. He's going to be scoring some points here and there. Definitely not competing for podiums or even top 5s unless, a crazy incident happens. I got him at 14th, and I have Ocon at 13th.
His race teammate?
Yes, his teammate. Yep.
Both Alpine guys there. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah, I just don't.
This is where it got hard for me.
Yeah, no, it is.
I totally agree with that.
Alpine could be hard. The only reason I got him here is because of how much I think AlphaTauri is jumping them basically, which takes me to my next 2 guys. Literally, I have.
This is where I have my guys. Right.
This is where you start. Yeah. So, I got Sonoda, and then I have Gasly.
Yeah, Pierre Gasly. Yeah, that's what I have too.
That's what you have too. Pierre Gasly, if no one knows, won a race last year.
Yeah, he did.
One of the craziest and best stories ever. I mean, that top 3 was Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz, and then Pierre Gasly winning it. That is, it doesn't matter who. You would never guess those 3 finishing 1, 2, 3 at a podium. You've been.
If anybody is interested in if you don't like Formula One and you're interested in getting into it, YouTube Pierre Gasly, Gasly, his 2020 win. The highlights of that race are so fun to watch because it's a guy that doesn't win races. He's a middle of the pack driver.
No, middle of the pack car.
Yeah,
and I would say middle of the pack driver. He's definitely has some talent.
Yes, but middle of the pack, all of them, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was just so fun, and I'm gonna rant a little bit, but the announcers of F1 are so incredible at what they do. They make everything fun. So with him gaining it, it was just amazing. So if you ever get a chance, watch the highlights of that. That was just such a great time. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that. Yeah, definitely Tsunoda and Gasly there. I'm rooting for him this year a lot, dude.
Oh yeah, both those AlphaTauri. I think they could be under. There's potential for them finishing 4th. I think this year.
Yeah.
I don't, obviously with having both drivers there, that's not what we're predicting, but there is definitely potential for them to make some big splashes this year. So. Next, I have Lance Stroll.
I also have Lance Stroll, right here.
You also have Lance Stroll, number 10?
Yes.
So Lance Stroll, is the son of the owner of his team.
So,
But don't let that, guide you away. He is definitely a talented driver. Obviously, I mentioned just recently that he, has a couple podiums. He had a couple podiums last year too, for Racing Point, who I think they finished fourth or fifth in the fourth in the constructors last year, I believe. Now rebranded as Aston Martin.
yep, finished fourth last year.
Yep. They were in it to finish third, and McLaren got under them on that last race.
Yeah, McLaren just barely beat him.
So it's hard to see this guy finishing much. I mean, he definitely can finish higher. I don't know. It's hard to root for this guy almost sometimes too, because of his background. But I think he's definitely a talented driver. All these guys, don't get me wrong. These guys we got at the bottom are just as good as the rest of this. Can be just as good as the rest of this grid, but
Yeah, a lot of it's the car you're in.
oh, for sure. That's why you see a lot of these teammates being basically paired up with each other going up the grid, because that's just how we feel where the cars are at. It's hard to see them getting too far out, and that's you can look at past finishes in the standings, and that's usually how it is. I mean, Mercedes has been finishing 1-2 for the past 7 years, basically, ever since they started winning. So now this is, we were talking about the teammates thing, but this is where I got a little bit different. I have Carlos Sainz. You don't? You got Vettel?
No, I got Vettel right here next to him.
I
don't. This is something I am totally on board with you. Vettel's got a ton of experience, right?
ton of experience, and I think Aston Martin is a better car than the Ferrari.
Is it? I mean, as far as we know right now, it's not. I mean, we've only had 3 practices to watch so far. I mean, I don't know. Ferrari could always bounce back. I know they didn't have a great year last year.
I mean, they finished sixth last year, fifth or sixth. Sixth.
Ferrari,
They finished
you
sixth.
never really know. And it's yeah. I mean, I don't. I wouldn't be mad about putting signs right there.
He's a tremendous driver. He drove
You know how I
the.
love Ferrari. I hope they finish dead last. So I don't. But I like Carlos Sainz. So
And I could see, and I know you're probably definitely going to disagree on this next one. I have Leclerc, or you might not. I have Leclerc and then Vettel at 8 and then 7.
oh, see, I have. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't. But
Who do you have at 8?
so I have. So how I have it is. So I have Vettel, Sainz, Norris.
Norris at 7?
Yeah.
Oh, you get really mixed up. I got Norris at 6, which is only a spot ahead. Because I honestly, this does not surprise me, because there's this group, these next, including these 2 and the next 4 drivers, man, could really be all flipped around. I mean, these 3 teams are super close between Ferrari, Aston Martin, and McLaren. I think McLaren definitely has the edge over both of these, but
Yeah. I mean, I feel like where are you at right now? Where are we at on our list?
so we need to figure out 8th.
So who do we have on the board? Where were we arguing? Signs?
We have Sainz at 9. I was arguing Leclerc.
Let's do Norris.
You want to do Norris?
Is that who you had, or you had Leclerc? Right?
I have Leclerc at 8. I have
Leclerc because of how bad Ferrari ran last year.
Okay, and then I'm sure you want. Then of course I don't see Vettel finishing any higher than 7th.
No, yeah, because I had Vettel way lower than that. So.
Yeah, you had him at 9th, so right.
Yeah.
So, and then you had So that gets us into 6th, and I have Norris. You said you had Norris at 7th, so 6.
Yeah, so this is pretty much, you can have me back to back. I had Ricardo and Norris then back to back.
Oh, you have teammates going the rest?
Yeah, from here on, almost, not really.
Okay. I have Norris. So, yeah, we definitely agree on Norris at 6. And then I have Perez at fifth. Who did you say you have fifth? You have Ricardo at fifth?
Oh,
See, I think Ricardo has finally gotten into a car. He, we were talking, he drove.
I feel the same way about Perez.
Yeah, you could say that Perez, if, again, he's another heroic story, won a Grand Prix last year, and it wasn't necessarily luck. It was obviously a little luck Mercedes had, what they did, but he drove the absolute snot out of that car from dead last. If somebody wants to, I think that was, where was that? Oh, first turn of the racetrack, he gets turned and is dead last, has a pit for tires, and drives that thing passing, so many cars, and just, man, that was a wonderful moment. That was even more special than Gasly, I believe. But it was crazy.
Yeah,
He's a hell of a race car driver.
Yeah, and what he did, man, I don't know. I feel like he's one of those guys now in that Red Bull car. I feel like Red Bull has the superior automobile this year compared to.
I see what you're saying.
But I mean, you could swap Ricardo, but I mean, because Ricardo's a hell of a driver.
Yeah, I mean, and then I have Ricardo at fourth, so I mean, we just have ours swapped, right? You have Perez at 4.
Yeah, I have Perez at 4.
So we just have those swapped again. As a lot of these, we just.
Yeah, we literally have a lot of stuff just swapped a couple.
We've been given my predictions a little too much sweet. So we'll go yours. You will go Ricardo at 5, and then Perez at 4, which takes us to these final 3. I think we both know who we got at 3rd. I think we both have Bottas at 3rd, right?
Yeah, we both have Bottas at 3rd. Yeah.
So Bottas driving, he's been great. I mean, he's a solid driver. He's consistent. He's not reckless. So he's been perfect to go alongside Lewis Hamilton to help Mercedes win 7 straight titles.
Valtteri Bottas he's a fucking machine out there, just like Lewis Hamilton is, man. He drives that. When I talk to people at F1 and why I like watching it, in watching Mercedes drivers, watching Lewis Hamilton and watching Bottas drive is why I like watching F1, is because the automobiles are engineering marvels. They're just beautiful to watch. But watching those guys drive them, those two guys, they are machines behind those cars because they don't make mistakes. Those two guys are insane, man.
Yeah.
But I have Bottas at 3 because he is a little conservative.
Yeah. So we are down to our final 2. Man, Max is an incredible driver. You could say, I mean, he's a little more reckless than Hamilton, I will say. He wrecks a little more. But when he is hot, it's hard to say that he...
I think he's winning the whole thing this year.
You got Verstappen winning it?
I got him winning the whole thing this year. I think that with what Honda's done in the offseason, with their engine changing, their aerodynamic changing, what they've done, especially watching them in testing, I think they got some shit figured out, man. How fast they were running and the way he looked, I just feel super confident in the way he raced last year. I think he's got it. Of course, we'll see this weekend will be a big test because it's Bahrain. So again, but this is going to be week 1 is going to be a really big test. And if Verstappen can go out there and win week 1, I think he takes the whole year.
Yeah.
It's good, but how do you vote against literally
the best? Arguably the best, or easily arguably, I would say on the
he's won more races than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He's what has he got?
I think
right?
I will. Here's my prediction. I think Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen will win the same amount of races as each other, but I think Lewis Hamilton is just a little bit more consistent and will be able to score a little bit more points on those off races, which
Sure.
is why I think Lewis Hamilton will win his eighth title.
Sure. Yeah. I can. I can.
I think they would be more competitive than they ever. I think this will be harder. Almost, I think this will be just as hard as as Lewis Hamilton's first win when he won in the McLaren. I think this will be his hardest win in the Mercedes, but I do think he will win.
I can lean to that, dude. I'll give you that.
So that
because you make a really fair point that Verstappen, because that's why I like
Verstappen,
Verstappen.
he pushes that car to the absolute limit.
Yeah, he pushes it every race. And when he does push those corners, man, and when he makes mistakes, sometimes he gets into wrecks, and he's known to get into crashes. So it's yeah, and Hamilton's not known. Hamilton's known to wreck people and not get into wrecks, right? So
poor one driver we don't have on this list that sadly without a drive is Albon, Alex Albon.
wrecked him twice last year.
Ooh. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Albon called him a sore. He's like, he's such a sore loser.
Oh my God, it is. Yeah, those were heartbreaking.
I think
It sucks that Albon doesn't have a ride this year. I think he'll be in Ocon and have a ride next year. You know, Ocon obviously got booted from his ride a couple years back, skipped out a year, got back into it because he's talented. I think Albon has a lot of potential to get back into a race, even potentially this year, because who knows how everything goes out. I think there will be more than 20 drivers racing, because I think people whether people come down with COVID or there is changes to be made.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because last year when we ended up having like 24 drivers, I think.
23, 24, yeah.
23.
23. Yep. So, I think Nico Hülkenberg, raced a couple times.
We had Grosjean was out there for a while, right? So with Haas, and then.
Yeah, Grosjean missed the final 2 races because of that crazy injury, that crazy wreck. Oh my gosh, look up that Grosjean's F1 wreck. I don't know how he walked away from that.
Oh my God, yeah, you guys want to see the craziest wreck I've ever seen.
That someone walked away from, anyways.
The Grosjean, to walk away from the Grosjean wreck. He hit a wall, and his car literally explodes.
Split in half. His half explodes through a wall. It doesn't even look like there's anything there.
From a Michael Bay movie fireball. That thing was it was such a huge explosion. And yeah, it was so scary, man. I was watching it live, and man, when that happened, I just watched a guy die. I literally thought I watched it, because there's just no way, man. I just watched his car explode, and then all of a sudden you just see him jump out of the car and run away, shaking his body, and they hit him with a fire extinguisher, and then he was fine a couple days later.
He wasn't fine. His hands are toasted, and his one foot is a little toasted, but...
The heavy quotations, fine. I mean, fuck, that's fine compared to what happened to him.
Yeah, no shit, man.
I'll take heavy burns on my hands, and fuck, you could have took my hands to live through that shit. That was crazy as hell.
So that is our drivers. I'm happy with this list.
Me too, dude.
I definitely don't think this list is going to be anywhere close. I'll be happy if we get at least 5 of these drivers in the correct spot.
Yeah, I'm shooting for a rough 20% right, dude.
So, but who knows?
On to the constructor standings.
Let's get into the constructor standings.
For you other people that don't know, F1 also gives a title out to the constructors standings, and that's the top. That's the teams. That's all 10 teams for the 20 drivers that they race for. Every driver has a team. There's 2 drivers to each team. So you race, you get points per race. At the end of the year, the drivers, the constructors get a trophy. So, and we're gonna see which team is gonna win the whole thing.
Yep. Okay, well, let's get into it. Down at the bottom, I got Haas.
You got Haas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the only as I said, Mazepin I think maybe score a point. Eloise, this team has pretty decent potential at not scoring a single point this year, and I think with Russell, I think Williams bound to score a few points. So
Yeah.
I got Haas 10 and Williams 9.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, what do you have at 8?
I think I think I had Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo.
I had my list and I didn't save it, and now it's gone.
I also have Alfa Romeo at 8. That is Kimi Räikkönen and Giovinazzi.
Yeah, let's see.
So I think between the two, I think Giovinazzi has potential to score a few points, maybe as much as Russell, and then I think Räikkönen is obviously that pushover. That'll consistency will. He's if nobody's wrecking, he's gonna be consistently in that top 15 for sure. I think, but with some of the top tier teams, losing some cars here and there, I think you'll be able to easily score points, in those races. So
Yeah.
number 7. I have their fall from grace, Alpine.
Alpine, yeah, I would have to agree with you there. It's,
Yeah, they're just. I say, I don't think I don't think they'll drop all the way down. I think they'll start to figure stuff out this year. Because they, with the rebrand, they're kind of rejuvenizing themselves. So it's gonna take a year. I think they got some good drivers. Obviously, with Fernando Alonso coming back, is definitely gonna help them, guide them in the right direction.
mm-hmm.
And then also, Esteban Ocon, great young driver, has potential. They'll definitely be in the race. Alfa Romeo, I think, will be their biggest competitor. And potentially the team right ahead of them, but I think there is a bit of gap between 7 and 6. So, talking about 6, I think this is where we differ a little bit. Who do you got at number 6?
Well, I think that we'll have. I think that's where the battle with AlphaTauri and Aston Martin, I think, will come through.
Okay. So who do you think AlphaTauri at 6?
Yeah, well, this is where I think I struggled the most at.
Yeah, these next 3 teams for me, anyways, between Ferrari, AlphaTauri, and Aston Martin.
Yeah, because it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be hard for. Like I said, I'm really rooting for AlphaTauri, so I don't know with like where they, because where they placed last year, 7th, right?
7th, yep. 7th.
So,
and then Ferrari was 6th. And Alpine, who we just dropped, was 5th.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
based on our driver standings, it's definitely AlphaTauri.
Yeah, I would say AlphaTauri, dude. I would say AlphaTauri.
Yeah, I agree there. And then we got Aston Martin and Ferrari here in these next 2 spots.
I'd keep Ferrari where they're at, right?
Think Ferrari at 5, and then Aston Martin at 4.
Yeah, man, it's hard, dude.
It
all
is
based on how their drivers go out, right? And then because I don't want to go too much in how they placed last year,
Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of driver changes, a lot of spec changes between these teams. I mean, it's definitely a year of unknowns.
Yeah.
So.
Shit. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that, dude. I think that Stroll and Vettel can push those cars up. I mean, if I had my way, I think we would just move Ferrari down to last place and we would just make that happen. Just hope they get 0 points across the year.
Yeah, right.
Every year they go and their power Sure, I just gives
They got a new power unit this year, so.
I hope it goes out every race. And, I don't hate him as much as I don't. The problem is Aston Martin's like my favorite car brand. Like my dream cars are Aston Martins, and I don't like Sebastian. I don't like Sebastian Vettel. Like, there's such a struggle with me now because it's like, yeah, I can root for Aston Martin. Shit, Sebastian Vettel drives for Aston Martin. So I like Lance Stroll though. So I like his hair. He's got great hair. Gotta rock the do. But yeah, I'm fine with that. We can keep that where that's at.
Yeah. I like that list. That's what I got.
Yep, and then McLaren, right?
The McLaren, yep. We got both drivers finishing 5th and 6th. I think there's potential that McLaren could, make this a three-way team effort.
Sure.
Three-way, fight for first. It's going to obviously take some time for Ricciardo to get up to grips. Norris, even if he stays the same or improves, again, I don't know if the car is quite there. They do have the new Mercedes power unit. So it's definitely going to be tough. But yeah, potential for McLaren to get back up there is there. So
yeah, I definitely think they have third locked up. I just don't think that they'll. I just don't think that they'll catch Red Bull or Mercedes.
Yeah.
With Verstappen and Perez, man, I think they're going to be hot on Bottas and Hamilton.
I definitely think I really want to see Norris get his first F1 victory this year. I think Ricciardo has one in the bag for getting one, depending on what happens to Red Bull and Mercedes. But I think McLaren as a team will get at least one victory this year.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
yeah.
Then we got second and first, basically.
I think that second's going to, this is where it gets hard. We talked about the consistency factor. I think second's going to have to go to Red Bull for the constructor. Yeah. Just because, I think Sergio Perez is a great racer, but he's still young and kind of in that car, right?
No, I definitely think he's more on the veteran side at this point.
Not young. I misspoke on that word, but he's not tested in that vehicle.
True.
And with that.
Yeah.
That good of a car yet, so we don't know what he can do in that car.
Yep, for sure.
So as it sits right now, until halfway through the year, when we're completely wrong about most of this, we can see where we're at. At race 13, where we're like, oh fuck, we should have picked this guy.
Right? Why is Daniel Ricciardo won 5 straight? What?
Why is Sergio Perez doing better than Max Verstappen?
What?
So, yeah.
Why is the Williams race car in first? No. That'd be nuts.
I just think that Bottas and Hamilton would be like you said, just the consistency. Bottas is consistent, Hamilton's consistent, and I just think that they'll rack up way too many points.
For sure.
With last year before COVID hit, they were like 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. It was like ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
The first few races, and that's how they usually start. But with the new changes to the car and what they've done, and the testing didn't look good for either of them. So we'll see here. The 26th is going to be a fun day to see what happens and what changes they've made, to see if they can fix their problems that they had. Hamilton was not looking good. So
yeah, well, you saw how much the team screwed up when they had George Russell come up and race for him. Man, that was very un-Mercedes like. So we'll see if those kind of same things continue to happen. Toto just signed for the team for another 3-4 years, something like that. So
Toto did?
Yep. We could talk about, we're only 45 minutes into this, so we can talk a little bit into contracts ending this year. So we have both Mercedes drivers. Hamilton obviously signed a 1 year. Bottas also signed a 1 year. We also have Perez signing a 1 year deal with Red Bull. Then we have George Russell on his last year of his contract.
Yeah.
And then there is one more that I can't remember off the top of my head. Must not be that important, huh? But my prediction is Russell will not be in the Williams next year. He is either going to take that Red Bull seat or that Mercedes seat. And I really hope he takes one of those.
I'm sure he'll probably take the Mercedes seat since he already races for Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
So, since he's already kind of, that's the same thing with Hamilton, right? Hamilton was kind of groomed by Mercedes to start.
Yeah. I mean, they go back and forth. You never know. I mean, everyone's always moving around.
Yeah, sure, but Hamilton even said it himself. He was groomed by them since he was like 12. So
Yeah, but he drove for McLaren first.
yeah, but they were still in partnership with Mercedes.
They're all in partnership with each other. It's
Yeah, but Mercedes was still in contact with them on a regular basis.
Sure.
So
Never know, though. I mean,
so it's, I don't know. I mean, I feel like maybe he goes to Red Bull, maybe Perez leaves and goes to Mercedes. It's
maybe some other contracts get cut early. You never know.
Maybe there's some Formula 2 drivers out there they have their eyes on.
I mean, they did bring in. We could talk about. Talk about Rookie of the Year. We got three rookies this year.
Yeah.
We got both Haas drivers, and then
Grosjean could come back, right? I mean, you never know. I mean,
yeah. So there's potential for that too, I believe.
We talked about Albon.
Yep.
Right, taking a year off, you never know. Some of these guys could really change a lot, and that's the thing about F1. These guys don't have massive allegiances to teams like other sports and things like that. So.
Mm-hmm.
There's ability to drive for Mercedes or Ferrari or at this point Red Bull. I think you take it, right? So.
Oh yeah. Be very interesting. Okay. We can go over. So I don't think we talked about it on the channel yet. We'll be having a Monday show every other week, correct?
Yeah. Just a short one, right? Just to kind of recap the race.
So we will be continuing these F1 talks. The Monday after every race. Races take place, at least for us, Sunday mornings on Sundays, every other week. So we will be going over them on those Mondays. Just a short little... kind of see where everything out. Or maybe a little power. I don't know. We'll play with it. Maybe we'll do a little power ranking type thing too. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll just kind of play it by ear, play it by fly. This is going to be something.
We'll talk about the races. Yeah. How crazy slow Hamilton is now. How he keeps spinning out on every turn.
Oh God, yeah, that's crazy. So so this week the race is in Bahrain. Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix 2021, March 28th. So, I mean,
you see the new track they'll be adding here soon. In what is it, Jeddah? How do you pronounce it? I forgot to pronounce that. Coming in, was it this year or next year? I already forgot. That's crazy. It's supposed to be the fastest track on the circuit.
Oh, yeah. I did see that. Well, one of the other, the YouTube channel that I watch that talks about F1, they talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, always got new tracks coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, out of the 23 tracks, I think there's 20 or so 15 to 20 different countries that they race in. It's quite insane.
Crazy, yeah. It's nuts.
They get around.
Yeah, here we already got the dad jokes going on.
I'm surprised some of these drivers don't have kids in 3 different countries.
I'm sure they do.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure do they do? So we have here's the so is that 10 a.m. start time for us here?
10 a.m. Sunday morning. I don't. What do they air on? I know we watch on. You can watch it on ESPN Plus. I don't know if they have
It
them.
just says ESPN right here.
Maybe on ESPN you might be able to catch it on your local networks. Not
Yeah,
local network. Your local
yeah,
channel provider.
I usually watch it on ESPN. Um, but I have ESPN Plus. I have the ESPN app on my Apple TV, so I'm able to watch pretty much anything I want on the ESPN app. So, um, trying to look this up real quick to see if I can find
Um,
the actual time.
as we talked about for the viewers, if Hamilton does win this year, he will win his 8th championship, which is right now he is tied with Michael Schumacher at 7. Sorry. As we talked about, Mick Schumacher, his son, is also racing this year, so maybe Mick will turn Lewis around in a couple races just to make sure that title stays tied. Mercedes will win their 10th title, constructor title, if they win, which is not number. That keeps them in 3rd, I believe, behind a few teams. I think McLaren and is it Ferrari? I want to say.
ESPN2.
ESPN2.
That's what it says right here on ESPN's website. It says Grand Prix live Sunday, March 28th, 10:55 a.m. ESPN2. So I would tune in at 10 a.m. Just to get the start time right. ESPN likes to start things at weird times sometimes, but if you are willing to watch it, I would give it a try. Races usually don't last that long. It's a couple hours at the most. Super entertaining. Pit times are really fun to watch. Usually like a second. Yeah, it's just a super entertaining race. The best engineered automobiles out there. These things just fly around the track. The drivers are super technical at what they do.
Super nutsy.
Their steering wheels are insane. There's a billion buttons on them that they have to manage.
Oh yeah, doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it is a pretty intense, sport for what they have.
You think F1 will be strictly battery powered at some point? Like within the next 10 to 15 years, you think?
There is one. I'll send you the link.
Because obviously they started doing the ERS thing last year, right? Where there is battery power. It's more of a boost button right now, but also can save you gas. So kind of these. I mean, these are basically hybrids now, right?
Yeah, I'll send you the link to this. There's these great YouTube guys called Donut Media.
Hey, yeah, I watch them.
Oh yeah, Donut Media is great. Those dudes are
they
awesome.
do lots of different stuff.
They actually talk about one of the racing people, and it's all of it is battery powered, like Formula One type cars. So
yeah,
I haven't watched it yet. It's on my save list for YouTube to watch it, but maybe one day we'll talk about that. One of these weeks that we're talking about F1, we'll bring that up and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Bring it into it. So I don't know. I think people will always something about the combustion engines, man.
The sound, man.
it's the sound, dude. It's the roar. It's just like NASCAR, right? The biggest thing about that is
roar.
Everything being turned on and the power of it, and standing there and hearing it and everything about it, right? You're gonna hear it. And the same thing for me, right? That's why I like watching MotoGP and watching the TT races and all that stuff, because it's the hearing the bikes start up and hearing motorcycles go and things like that it's amazing to have it. So electric cars are bitching. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against electric. Teslas are awesome.
Oh yeah.
But hearing an automobile start up and rev is just is amazing. So,
You can never shake that feeling.
no, I would love to be near a Formula One car, man, when it starts up and goes. It'd be sick.
Give you the chills, man, or the shivers.
Oh,
Woo!
yeah, dude. Knowing that this car can take turns at 100 miles an hour and shit.
Sharp turns.
Sharp
Yeah.
turns, dude.
Oh, it is crazy, man. So, I think that concludes our show this week.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed it, leave a like, comment what your predictions are if you want. Let us know how wrong ours are. We'll be looking out. Catch us Monday. We'll still keep doing our Wednesday show, but this coming Monday we will be posting probably around the same time, maybe a little sooner because it won't be as long. But
Yeah.
that's the show.
Awesome.
Love
Thanks,
y'all.
everybody.
Bye.
Take care.